Here's my rating for Ash's Johto League battles. To be honest, 2 of the battles will be ranked together because they're basically the same and there's no difference. So at number 6, I have Ash versus these 2 random trainers. The reason I have them together is because there's no difference. In the first battle, Ash defeats a Machoke with Fanpee's takedown, and Cyndaquil beats an Executor using Flamethrower. The reason I have this battle, because they barely show any of it. So what's the point of rating them as separate, as if they're basically the same? At number 5, we have Ash versus Salvador. His Furret. Why did Misty say it's a ground type? Just because it's brown doesn't mean it's a ground type. I'm not being racist. Furret is a normal type. Furret gave it a decent threat, even knowing Dig. But Ash came up with a strategy to defeat Furret. This battle is good, but not good. But I just have it rated at number 5. At number 4, we have Ash versus Macy. This is actually a pretty good battle with Ash's Squirtle returning. He was going to use his Kingler, but it got electrocuted by a bunch of Voltorbs. But it's cool to see we got Squirtle back. Because we haven't seen Squirtle since early Johto, and Squirtle is one of my favorite Ash Pokemon. And Macy was a good threat using mainly fire types, and she even tried to surprise Ash by whipping out an Electabuzz. But Ash brought Fanpea, which is clever thinking. Even though Fanpea was able to defeat Slugma, her Quilava beat Fanpea, and Totodile easily got beat by a Electabuzz, so yeah. But Squirtle showed off its training, even defeating Electabuzz and Quilava. There's this one point where there's smoke, but Squirtle was trained with smoky fires, so he was able to see through it. And even though Squirtle looked like it was about to lose by going on its back and couldn't give up, Ash used Hydro Pump and won. Squirtle is good, yeah. That's why I have this battle so high. At number 3, we have Ash versus Jackson. This one was a decent threat, and Ash is Bulbasaur returning this time. Ooh, I'm sorry. It's just really early in the morning. Yeah. And Pikachu was able to defeat Azumarill. But before the battle, we get to see some of Ash's and Jackson's Pokemon feuding. Even though Pikachu was able to defeat Azumarill easily, Shiny Magneton, yes, Jackson had a Shiny Magneton, easily defeated Pikachu and Cyndaquil by using Thunder Wave and then finishing it off with Tri-Attack. But then we had Bulbasaur, who held its own and was able to defeat Magneton. Then a final battle between Meganium? Yeah. Bulbasaur was kind of at a disadvantage because it was going off against a fully evolved starter, but he was holding his own, and he was being a champ by dishing out attacks as strong as Meganium's. And at one point, they just stopped dodging and take each other's attacks. And the final Solar Beam clash was also like during the Battle Frontier rating. Go check it out. Get out. This battle has it good, and it even ended with a tie, which allowed Ash to go into the victory tournament. At number 2, we have Ash versus Harrison. It's actually really good with Ash, with Harrison having some Pokemon from the Hoenn region, which Ash hasn't been to, like Kecleon, which Pikachu had some trouble at first, but came up with strategy by listening to its movements, grabbing its tongue, and then electrocuting it. And then he had some trouble against Sneasel, but Totodile was able to win. But the MVP of most of that battle was Snorlax. It came out asleep and allowed Harrison's Hypno to use Dream Eater, but Snorlax woke up angry and then basically one-shotted Hypno. And then Ash's Noctowl basically got mostly one-shotted by Steelix. But Snorlax was able to pull through, landing an Ice Punch uppercut and defeating Steelix with a Hyper Beam, but its Hyper Beam got countered by Counter works on physical attacks, not special. And plus, shouldn't Snorlax have a recharge period after using Hyper Beam? But Ash's Bayleaf was able to defeat a Houndoom, even though it was at a disadvantage, but Harrison's Blaziken was a threat, easily defeating Bayleaf, but it is a grass type against a fire and fighting type. But the final battle between Ash's Charizard and Harrison's Blaziken was good. Two of the strongest fire types going at it. It felt like they were just dishing out attacks and not even hurting. This was, sure, later battles are more intense, but this is epic. In the final one between Charizard even and Harrison, watching the battle that is at number 1, figured out how to counter Seismic Toss. In the final clash of moves between Harrison's Blaziken's Flamethrower and Ash's Charizard's Dragon Rage, that's intense. They struggle to get back up and Charizard tries to go for another attack, but it stays down. I mean, at least Charizard went out like a champ, unlike the Indigo League. And here comes to number 1, Ash versus Gary. Because Gary is one of Ash's greatest rivals, and here's where they go out. And why did the motive they used for this battle was a rusty Pokeball? How about their first battle? Where Ash's Pikachu lost to Gary's Eevee. That would have been better. So yeah, the battle starts and Ash is kind of at the losing end with Tauros easily getting defeated by Nidoqueen. But Heracross getting a return and easily defeating Gary's Magmar, even though it had a huge disadvantage, but Gary's Blastoise was probably his biggest threat. I mean, it easily defeated Heracross and Muck. Yeah, Ash's Muck didn't do so well either. And Bayleaf had a clever strategy using Vine Whip to get up in the air, but Blastoise defeated it. So yeah, the second half, Ash made a comeback, mostly by using his Snorlax, easily defeating Gary's Arcanine, and Gary used Nidoqueen's tail to jump up like Ash did, and even though Nidoqueen landed a double kick, Snorlax dodged Hyper Beam and used Ice Punch, but one of Gary's other Pokemon who was a threat was his Scizor. It easily defeated Snorlax and Muck, until it was just down to Charizard, but here's where the best moment comes in. Charizard easily defeats Scizor, even though it has a 4x weakness, and Golem. I mean, Gary's Golem shouldn't have went down so easily. I mean, it used Magnitude, which shouldn't affect Charizard. Yeah. But the final battle between Charizard and Blastoise is really a good battle. Because it's just like the mascots for Red and Blue, like zactoshi said. He's one of my idols who inspired me to become a YouTuber. So yeah. The final battle is really intense, and Ash comes up with a clever strategy using Flamethrower on the battlefield to surround Blastoise. But Gary used a Hydro Pump on the field, but they went claw to claw in this battle of steam. Yeah. And then Ash used Seismic Toss. Gary tried to counter with Bite, but no. It was only allowed to go one way, with Charizard winning, and a good way to put his rivalry with Gary aside. So there's my ratings. Stay tuned.